It's April 19th, 2015, and we want to know, is Deathblow leading a campaign of terror against the snack that smiles back?
What have protoplasmic blobs ever done to young Australian clone Lex Luthor?
All this and more is coming up next. It's Convergence Week 2 here at DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DCR Week 2 of Convergence, Brian.
I believe it's pronounced Convergence, Sean.
Maybe I've just been mispronouncing it all this time.
Certainly mistyped it that one time, and so I'll never give it up.
Apparently, you make one mistake and it just becomes a running joke with you, like a name or something. You just latch onto it with laser focus. But speaking of names, I am Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire, and of course, the man with the laser focus, Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hello, Sean. How is it going?
It is splendid. Splendid. I just got done reading all of these wonderful books for this week that we're going to talk about. All of the titles that conveniently were released by DC Comics in the Convergence event. Very, very convenient that I happened to just read them all.
Yes. Are we going to be spoiling them?
You know what? I think if we talk about them, we may discuss, I don't know, like plot beats, storylines, character development even. I think we might do that a little bit.
This is sounding a little too scripted, so I'm just going to say some nonsense right now.
Okay, go for it.
There's a potato in my pants.
There, now no one can say it's scripted. Yeah, you showed them. But as a forewarning, so you guys are aware, we are going to be talking about all the books that came out in the event this week. So please, if you do not want them spoiled, do not listen ahead. Of course, you can always go back to last week with week 1 if you want to start from the beginning of this whole Convergence thing, as Brian calls it. We did start to get a couple Convergence questions that I am going to lump up here at the end of the month when we get to week 4, that halfway point, and we'll go through some of those. But for this week, we are going to skip over the questions and just converge into this week's books. All right,
so I'm starting us off with Convergence number 2.
Yeah, we're doing back and forth here.
Yeah.
You had 0, I had 1, you have 2. Guess who's going to do 3?
Liam.
Close.
It'll be an interesting recap,
yeah,
if
just
anything.
A lot of drooling, yelling about cookies.
Banging things on the
Yeah,
table.
you know, the usual.
Yeah.
Not too far off of my own recaps.
Point. As it turns out, Convergence seems to be a storyline all about my most favorite of characters, the Earth 2 superhero.
Yes, you love them.
The Wonders.
The
Oneater.
Yes, I'll let you continue into the book, but I do have a couple things to say about their use of the Earth 2 characters here.
We start off, there's like a kind of a recap. I don't know if this happened in World's End or not, because as we all know, I kind of zone out when World's End gets recapped. We get a detailed breakdown of what the greatest dad on Earth 2, Dick Grayson, did when he couldn't get his kid onto an Ark ship, when Earth 2 was being destroyed. And then as soon as he's able to hand off his kid to some people, as he does, random people, he was trying to save them. It's like, we'll give us this kid, we'll take him off on our ship. Like, okay, he does that, and then no sooner does he see his kid leave off on the ship than the ship blows up and falls apart in flames.
Wow.
Dad of the year.
Wow.
I'm sure he wasn't kidnapped by important people or anything.
And I want you to know that was the so cleaned up in comparison to the World's End storyline and how it occurred. You saw how they did it where the gates were kind of like closing and he had no choice, and then it was Big Barda and one of the Furies that was back there with her as well. We're sitting there going, oh, hey, hurry up, shove the kid through the fence before it closes and we'll protect him while he's on the ship. That's not how it happened.
Oh, really?
They were like standing there, and he was, as I said when we did the recap of it, just looking left and right until he saw a lady in chainmail and a cloak and another orange lady wielding a sword, and went, will you two look upstanding? Will you take my child on the ship? So I
prefer a British man in a trench coat, but you'll do.
They even cleaned it up here, and they were like, well, let's just kind kind of, shave off some of the rough edges of that original story there and make it a little more dramatic and understanding as to why he would just shove his kid off to go with these people instead. They did it with a couple other things as well in here that, as I said, just kind of cleaned it up a bit.
I see.
Made it a little bit more pathos filled and a little bit more understandable as to why characters would have made the choices they made. It seems more like the writer of this one had the rough notes of what was going to happen, and he kind of went, okay, well, this is the logical way of doing it, and then maybe went back and went, well, why did they do that? Well, I'm leaving it my way, because I'm not going to reference that.
Well, then. Okay, so they show the big battle with Darkseid on Earth 2, and at one point, Dick Grayson does what all good heroes do, and it's covered with liquid metal.
Yes!
And then, which point it brings us to now, where Earth 2 Batman, Earth 2 Flash, the Earth 2 Superman Val Zod, Dick Grayson, and Animal Girl they're all just trapped in a big old lump of liquid metal.
Steel, why are you doing this,
What are you doing, Steel? And Telos is showing them what everyone's going to be doing. It's like, since your city's not here, I'll show you these other cities that are fighting. This is what you should be doing right now. And he shows the Just Imagine Stan Lee universe fighting with the Futures End robots.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're both going to be fine, right?
Except after some other cutting jabs from Telos, the Stan Lee universe, all they want to do is sue Telos for forcing them to do this.
Oh. Wait, hot litigation action?
Red hot litigation action.
Was the creeper there?
He shows up later, actually.
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah, they are forced to watch the spider robots just rip through the Just Imagine Universe's bullpen, and we get to say Excelsior to the Just Imagine Universe.
I've come to talk with you again.
So, the Earth 2 heroes break free from the liquid metal, because when you're strapped in liquid metal, all you gotta do is just, flex, and then it just shatters away like...
Well, it is liquid.
Like that crappy, chalky...
I wonder if it was made out of mercury, because I heard that actually is liquid at room temperature.
Well, I have heard that before, don't quite remember where. So they escape from that, they get all punchy with Telos, with a little help...
Punchy. Mm-hmm. You just wrapped up 5 pages of the book.
I did.
They get all punchy.
I did. I love
Telos.
this Convergence month. So with a little help from Green Lantern pulling from the planet's energy source, because he's connected to the green.
Which is weird, I have to admit, because Telos is a living planet.
Yeah.
So he technically was doing a stop hitting yourself with Telos' own power.
Yeah. I think that kind of works, actually. Yeah, but because Telos is the planet, he's able to get away, and now... But now Green Lantern has a link with Telos that lets him know how to defeat him with fear.
Okay.
Fear of something that is just beneath the surface of the planet. But it's focused around this one city.
Liquid hot magma? Is he afraid of liquid hot magma?
Liquid hot magma.
Magma.
It's focused around this one city, so the powered heroes head there, and Batman grabs Dick Grayson off to go find help in a nearby Gotham City. There's a whole bunch of Gothams here, but this one looks best.
Yeah, I kind of like this one.
Yeah. So they go and find a Batcave because it's where I would have left it, so I'm assuming it's just going to be a Batcave, and it was, which was kind of cute.
Yeah.
So Dick Grayson gets to meet Alfred, who's surprisingly okay with there's just someone in the Batcave. Oh well.
This happens all the time.
He sees Dick Grayson. Oh, hello. Who are you?
Are we really going to do this?
Yep.
But is it? Oh, well, I guess this is pre-Flashpoint, Alfred, so you can do that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Grayson freaks out a little bit because he sees his dead wife, Barbara Gordon, on the screen talking to him, saying, "Who's that there? Why is he in the Batcave?"
The multiverse is terrifying. Why does no one see this except for me?
So Thomas Wayne Batman goes upstairs and meets a Bruce Wayne Batman, and I'm sure there's some feels.
I'm sure there is.
Feels, yeah.
They do not give the actual exchange of words, which I think is probably the best course of action they could have done. Just leave it up to the reader, because anything you put there either isn't going to go far enough or is going to go too far. That balance is going to be
the Wolverine Origins gambit that failed so miserably.
Yes, a little bit.
So we'll just do that. So as they leave, Grayson gets some Kevlar. Thomas gets the keys to the Batmobile. Normally that's like a Sweet 16 thing, but no, here, Dad, have the keys to my car. And they drive off, and we get a full-page spread of sad Batman is sad.
Yes.
Poor sad Batman.
Well, this is also the same... Well, I guess not. Never mind. Disregard. It's the Flashpoint Batman.
That's who it is?
No, that's who gave the note to... Yeah, I guess it would be... No, it would
I don't
be...
know I don't know exactly which Batman this is.
At the end of Flashpoint, it was Thomas Wayne that was also Batman in Flashpoint. And when the Flash was fixing the timeline and going back to the regular timeline, Thomas Wayne gave a note to him to give to his son because, of course, he was supposed to live. Barry Allen filled him all in on how his world actually was, and that was at the start of the New 52. Was Barry Allen handed over the note to Batman?
Yes, I do.
Who read it
that
and
now.
was like, "Oh, sadness." So I keep getting my Batman mixed up here. We do have a lot of Batman
There's
running
a lot
around,
of Batman, yeah,
and they're very similar in some regards.
So meanwhile, the Earth 2 heroes find a city where Power Suit Lex Luthor and a Lois Lane Superwoman are fighting the classic Superman Red and Superman Blue, not the electric Superman Red and Superman Blue. I can't believe I have to make that clarification, but I do. And they come across the dead bodies of the Justice Riders.
No!
They also find a Court of Owls mask? Question mark.
Sure.
And see a man being pursued by drones. They save his life, and he says, "Oh, thank you so much. The Steers have foretold of you coming to save me. Come, I can lead you off this planet, for my name is Demos."
Well, he sounds very pleasant.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. He's a wizard who likes to wear a lot of black and a lot of skulls.
Well, I mean, sometimes skulls make a good accent piece.
And usually not a lot of pants.
Usually not a lot of pants. Not a fan of them.
It makes more room for the skull.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
But the Demos is wearing pants right now. I've also heard that his high school football rules.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and he's from Skartaris, the Hollow Earth, the warlord.
Scatman Terrace.
Scatman Terrace. Yeah, swords and sorcery, that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah. This is the Hollow Earth that you were talking about before?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure that he has something to do with the thing beneath the surface, maybe?
Is this
you teleport the city into the planet of Telos and it just takes over the inside of Telos? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe
like
something
kidney
else.
stone or something?
Yeah, the kidney stone of Telos, yes. There's what you want to be.
Don't want to be there when he passes that one.
Nope, not at all. Honestly, I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that, because that's kind of a weird... Obviously, if these things are domed and put on top there all over the place, why wouldn't they just dome it and put it on top? So is it going to be Skartaris of Telos, or is it a different Skartaris that was pulled over and they were like, where did I put that Skartaris at?
I don't know. All I know is it was in one episode of Justice League Unlimited, and that's all I know about it.
Okay, well, so we're digging a little deep here.
Yeah.
We're not exactly skimming off the top and making it easy. Not another Batman thrown on the pile.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of curious to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, so this week, as we jump into all the Convergence two shots.
Sure.
Whatever you want to call
tie-ins.
The tie-ins, yeah. We're going to be having the pre-Zero Hour Metropolis versus the Wildstorm San Diego, California.
Yeah, San Diego.
Kingdom Come Metropolis. And, versus Electropolis, the place from the Forerunner universe where every event is an event.
And they boogaloo all the time. Electropolis boogaloo. It's the best. So I guess I'm starting off with the tie-ins.
They also slide around a lot.
Oh, do they really?
Mostly at weddings, though.
Okay, well, that's the
only time people can really deal with it. Even then, it's still kind of sketchy.
It would make sense when we get to your Supergirl book why people are married then, because they just have to.
They have to.
They gotta do that electric slide. It's in their rules every day. Someone must be married so they can electric slide through Electropolis.
That Cha-Cha Shuffle guy keeps saying he's going to make a new version. He says at the end of every song, I've yet to hear a new version of that. Come on, Cha-Cha Shuffle guy. Get on it.
Cha-Cha Shuffle guy. That's what I want on my tombstone. So I'm starting us off with Convergence, Green Lantern - Parallax #1. Because, Brian, aren't they one and the same in this time frame? We're dealing with the 0 hour stuff. And one of the key things that came out during the 0 hour things, this is just after the death and return of Superman, correct?
Yeah, immediately after Superman died.
Okay, so this is...
Reign of the Supermen, I think would be the safest way to say this time
That's
period.
about the time frame that we're looking at here right now. And while all of that was kind of stealing the focus of everyone's attention, there was some other big things happening in, say, the Green Lantern section of the universe.
Oh, just a bit.
Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and I'm just going to do this at the front because they do the recap of this in the book, and it makes more sense for me to just get it out of the way. Green Lantern was having some issues because during all that reign of the Supermen stuff, Mongol and Cyborg Superman.
Elijah Wood with tape on his face showed up and just started beating the crap out of the
They had a bit of a scuffle over Green Lantern's home city of Coast City, and in the aftermath, the entire city and all of its residents were killed. Whoopsie. This kind of set Hal Jordan on the path of, shall we say, Looney Tunes, because he's decided he was going to use his ring to rebuild the city, bring everything back. Put it the way it was. I have a ring of unimaginable power. I can fix this. I'll get my city back, all the people, bring them back. We'll make this work. I'll just slap some duct tape on it, green duct tape, of course, and everything's gonna be fine. But the Guardians of the Universe say, hey, Hal Jordan, that's against the rules. You can't use your power ring for personal gain. That's not how it works. And what we find out later on is that there was also an entity known as Parallax that was inside the green battery that was the entity of fear. And it was kind of preying on all of the things that were going on in Hal Jordan's life at this point and making him a little angry. So since the Guardians said, no, you can't do that, he decided he was going to claim all the power for himself, went around and murdered every single member of the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians themselves, and slapped on every ring he could find. Toe rings as far as you could see. Yep. He just had rings all over the place and became Parallax, who was
like a mom going through a middle-age crisis. I'm going to start wearing a toe ring. I'm going to get crazy.
But in the process, this is kind of when this whole Convergence thing happens. It's right as he has murdered everyone. He's gone all berserker mode. He redeems himself later on, after these whole events occur. After
Jeff Johns cleaned everything up.
After some of these things were planted in there to say, well, he wasn't just going into a fit of crazy. There was an evil entity involved.
Yeah. It was there all along, everybody.
We just forgot to mention it. Sorry, guys. We left a page out there.
Let me slowly take a sip of my beverage.
But he had a chance to redeem himself, but in this case, the domes came down, he lost his connection to the power rings, and also his connection to Parallax, the fear entity that was driving him crazy, and in this one, he has locked himself away in prison for his crimes. He's sitting in jail, really depressed, just filled with anguish for all the sins he committed while he was under control of Parallax, but every single day for the last year while they've been under this dome, Kyle Rayner, who was Green Lantern for all of like a day at this point. He had the ring for like a day. He got into one fight with Mongol. Superman helped him out. And then the domes came down and cut off his link to the ring. And he's just regular Kyle Rayner. But he knows Hal Jordan was the greatest Green Lantern. And every single day over this year, he comes, he visits Hal Jordan, tries to pep him up, tries to tell him it wasn't your fault. Obviously something was controlling you. Don't beat yourself up on this. We need you out there, buddy. You're a good guy. We could use your help out there. And every single day, Hal Jordan goes, no, I'm a horrible person. I lost control of the one thing that I'm supposed to as a Green Lantern, my willpower. Sorry, buddy. I'm staying in here. And, this day is no different from any of those other days. And as Kyle Rayner leaves, though, attention, people of the domes. I shall bring them down. And that's what happens. The domes come down, as we talked about last week. And instantly, Kyle Rayner has re-linked up with his ring. Hey, I'm Green Lantern again. Day 2 of Green Lantern for me. It's going to be so easy. Let me attach this Viewmaster to my face here. Ooh, giraffes. How cool. Unfortunately,
looks like one is slightly in front of the other.
As soon as that happens, though, he goes, hey, if I reconnect it to my rings, ba-boom, big explosion as Parallax / Hal Jordan comes out, and he's all in rage mode. Oh, I can't believe you people imprisoned me, and I had to deal with all that whining for a year. Rar, rar, rar. I'm evil Parallax monster. Grr, arg. Got his little gray strips and his pointy teeth. Grr, I'm angry. But Kyle flies up to him and goes, no, Hal, slow your roll. We talked about this for a year. You felt bad about it. Do you really want to go out here and destroy the city again and be a bad guy? And it causes him to stop and pause, and he's like, no, maybe I don't. Maybe I can get control of this once more. But before they can finish their conversation, a wild pack of electric tanks roll up over the ridge.
Okay.
Led by Princess Fern of Electropolis.
Okay.
Who shows up and goes, we're going to get first strike and stop these guys before they can destroy our cities, because apparently they were supposed to attack each other, or they're just launching in some weird first strike, and they blast Kyle out of the sky. And as he topples down to the ground, Parallax flies over and just tears up their stupid little electro tanks really easily, beats up Princess Fern, and then goes, oh, you guys have totally called down the thunder. I'm going to fly over to Electropolis. It can't be that hard to find. It's playing that goddamn song 24/7 about shuffling all the time. I'm just going to fly over there, and I'm going to trash it, and you have no one to blame except yourselves. And we cut over to Electropolis, where the guards are watching the king and queen of their domain fight somewhere else. I don't know where they're fighting. I don't know. Do you know anything about this lord and lady somewhere, Brian?
Oh,
because they're
I do.
Okay, well, they're over there watching that fight, and just then, that's when Parallax busts in.
They're all trying to figure out what exactly the Charlie Brown dance move is supposed to be. What is that? Am I supposed to bob my head like Snoopy? I don't know
what I do. But yeah, that's when Parallax shows up and goes, I'm tearing this thing down. Rar, grr, arg, grr. The end.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Yeah. You're looking at me strangely. I'm like, you could jump in any second here.
I didn't read this one, so I don't know.
No, it was Bedard, or Tony Bedard and Rod Wagner did the art on this one. And what I really liked about it was it had a 90s style art-wise as far as the tone, but it used a lot of the modern storytelling methods, so it had like this mishmash of styles between the two, like an old school art style mixed with modern storytelling, and it really kind of worked.
Oh.
I like the way they did it in this one. I just wanted to point that out.
All right.
So next up.
All right, I've got Convergence Supergirl Matrix #1.
By far,
oh my god,
the runaway of the week for me.
Yep. If the event only gives us this issue, it has succeeded in my book. Let's have a little refresher on the Supergirl Matrix.
Oh, please refresh
me.
So,
around about the time of the death of Superman, Lex Luthor was actually Lex Luthor Jr., an Australian with a mane of flowing red hair. But it was actually the real Lex Luthor who cloned himself a young new body after his kryptonite ring gave him cancer.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
And his girlfriend was an artificially created protoplasmic goo monster from an alternate dimension that thought she was Supergirl. She eventually gave her powers to a dying girl, and she became the flame-winged Supergirl I was trying to figure out last week. But that's irrelevant because this comic is about the goo monster.
Yes, I had no idea she was a protoplasmic goo monster. It never came up in the comic once.
So the story is Supergirl versus Lady Quark versus Lord Volt. Who the hell is Lord Volt? The very comic that wants to get excited about Lord Volt asks us.
Yes. I love the asterisks on the first page of this book. God. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to enjoy this.
Just giffening all over the place.
Yes.
Just giffening around. So, Australian clone Lex Luthor Jr. is all sad that he can't plot Superman's demise anymore, and Supergirl shows up and he treats her with all the love and compassion that Dr. Smith has for Robbie the robot. Spare me your inane prattle, you pretentious pile of protoplasm.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of alliteration right there.
He loves his alliteration. So, the dome comes down. I'm not even doing that this week. I can't keep doing it. And
we're going to be doing it for the next 2 weeks as well, so just get used to it.
So, Supergirl is going to have to stop protecting Lex for some time, and he gives her a gizmo to try to track down a Justice League teleporter off on one of the other cities that they now have access to.
Okay, that makes sense.
So he can use that to get them off this planet. So as she flies off, we then get to meet Lady Quark and Lord Volt, the character finds of 2015.
Yes. They need to be on a team now.
Come on. Remember 50 Sue? Forget her. We need to save these two from this event. They are two gay superheroes forced into a loveless marriage, and they hate each other.
And they are so funny.
They so much so that they fight each other more than Supergirl, who they're supposed to fight. So while they're doing that, she goes off and tries to find a teleporter as they just beat the ever-loving crap out of each other, both physically and emotionally.
Oh, that scene where it's Lady Quark is yelling at Supergirl, and it's Lord Volt like, you're totally playing into stereotypes here. And she goes, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. The closet door must have closed. And I'm just sitting there reading like, holy shit, these two are just vicious to one another.
And I love Supergirl just being so nonchalant, just kind of like making faces at the camera and like, what? No, it's totally cool.
Butting into the argument and then instantly regretting it. Like, oh, why did I even say anything? I should have just beeped off to the side.
So they eventually decide they're finally going to fight Supergirl, and she's just like, nah, I got to follow this beepy thing that I've got. It's helping me find a teleporter.
Meep, meep.
Yeah, meep. Oh my god, it's adorable. I really like the Supergirl a lot.
Did she just say meep meep at us and fly away?
So they get all indignant about that, and then they go to fight about how she's got to go through them to follow the beepy thing. So Supergirl one punches Lord Volt, and Lady Quark has to think about the next part. She tries to break the beepy thing, so Supergirl uses her telekinesis to throw Lady Quark across the city.
Just to see how big her friction streak is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
don't you think she should be more worried about fighting us? No, I mean, she's a Supergirl. Of course she's going to fight us and not have to worry about it. Yeah, but shouldn't there be a moment of doubt in her mind or something?
Yeah. So the gizmo comes to life with the voice of Lex Luthor telling her to find the teleportation device already, you pungent pouch of protoplasm. So she throws it away, it breaks, and she's like, oh no, crap, I really did need that to help save our city, until she comes across the teleportation device that it was following. It's Ambush Bug.
Yeah, because this thing wasn't goofy enough already. Let's just put that cherry on top of this Sunday of insanity.
Yeah. Oh, God, Keith Giffen gives 0 Fs, and it is glorious.
It really is.
Oh, my God. And Timothy Green, too, drew this, and I'm not sure if it's like a 90s thing.
Did you say Timothy Green, too?
Yes. I think I did it once, and I just decided to keep doing it because I kind of liked how it sounded.
Not the second, but 2.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly competent sequel to Timothy Green 1. So he's the guy that did the original Star-Lord miniseries I like so much. He's done some fill-ins here and there.
Gotcha.
He's got a really interesting, like almost European style, I kind of want to say. And I'm not sure if this is just his normal style or by design because it's supposed to be as 90s as humanly possible. Everyone's hair always looks like it's in a wind machine.
Yes.
And it works so well. Like, I don't want to make it to sound like a knock because it looks glorious in this.
Yes,
Everyone's hair is just going crazy and I love it.
Especially Lex Luthor, who's just like showing off into the wind with his glorious hair.
And he's got his hair tied back. I can't wait for him to take that knot out because the one thing I remember, one of the most thoughtful gifts I ever got from like a classmate when I was growing up was he just knew I liked comics. So he got me the Death of Superman issue and the Reign of the Supermen trade, like the gigantic brick trade.
Okay.
He must have just gone and said, well, what's cool with superheroes right now? My friend likes superheroes. So that's like my knowledge of this all comes from that one gift. And the one thing that always surprised me the most is the glorious flowing locks of this version of Lex Luthor. Just the hair going everywhere. Like John Bogdanove just drawing the most massive mane of hair on Australian clone Lex Luthor.
But why is he Australian if he's just a clone?
You know, so I wish someone could confirm this for me because I don't know where my trade is, but I swear to God he was Lex Luthor's like illegitimate Australian kid who he said, oh yes, I'm Lex Luthor's son. I'm certainly not the actual Lex Luthor in a young cloned body. I'm from Australia, and so I'm come to take over my dad's business. And I was like, well, this sounds legit. Listen to that accent.
I've got a didgeridoo.
He's got a didgeridoo. He donated some koalas to the zoo. He must be okay.
He's just another of those really cool Aussie guys. I mean, obviously. Look at that hair. I mean,
look at that hair. Look at that knife. If your shop still has an issue with this, go buy it.
Yeah, at least flip through it. I even threw it on Twitter day of, right after I read it. I threw up on Twitter. You know what? Give more than a cursory glance to Supergirl Matrix. Just, if you're looking for fun, I know you're going to see it on the stands and you're just going to go, oh, okay, so it's like weird Supergirl from the 90s. And you're just probably going to go, okay, that's something. And maybe just skip over it. But just open it up, flip through 2 or 3 pages even, and just let it wash over you. Whoever did the coloring on this as well did a really good job. It has that bright, vibrant feel to it that really plays up the humor as well, even in the gritty fights and everything like that. It's just very colorful, very fun. It was my runaway.
This is also one of the most expressive books I think I've ever seen Green do.
Oh, really?
Like it's almost like they're kind of like how I said when Howard Porter started doing like, you know, the Bwahaha League when Blue Beetle and Booster Gold showed up, he suddenly got like suddenly got super expressive in that book.
Yes.
It's almost like he's tapping into that power as well.
Maybe
that's great.
It's once you get to that goofy, just sheer insanity, you just start laughing to yourself, and you can do that. So next up, I have Convergence Catwoman #1, Purple Catwoman, because cats are purple.
Yes,
they're known for their purpleness.
It's just science.
This is by Justin Gray with art by Ron Randall. And it's Catwoman prepping to steal some jewels from a rich lady in Metropolis before the dome came down. That's how she got there. This rich lady had some jewels.
Yeah.
But of course, things don't go as planned because, as always happened in the 90s, I cannot tell you how many times this happened, a bunch of skull-faced roller derby girls had shown up to try to take her hostage.
Sounds legit.
I cannot tell you how many times I would just go to a friend's house and then roller derby girls would roll in, skulls painted on their faces, and try to take people hostage. It was so annoying. 90s were such a dark time. Such a dark time. But she ends up saving the girl instead. Doesn't get the jewels, but that is when the dome comes down and she's trapped in Metropolis for this year during the whole pre-zero hour stuff. And after a year in the dome, the money, the jewels, they don't really have much value. She's not really much of a thief anymore. It wasn't really scratching an itch that she had, pun not intended there.
Yeah.
So what she's decided to do is take up protectorship of suicide slums. She's going to protect all the homeless people and the people down on their lucks that were living there when the dome came down. And there's strange people coming in from the city that want to hunt humans because they're the most dangerous target. I don't know. It's fun though. These people are showing up. She's protecting them. And this is kind of the stuff that more fascinates me. I talked about this last week, where we're dealing more with the after effects of an entire city being locked under a dome, i.e. in the Nightwing Oracle, we dealt with a lot of the emotional stuff that was going on with just apathy and why are we even going through the motions? We're just ants in an ant farm type thing. Mm-hmm. This is a lot more of the logistical side of things where, yeah, logistics, I know.
Yeah.
Comics and logistics, they immediately go together. But to me, it's fascinating.
Creeper works so well.
I love world building. World building. So in this one, what it is Bruno Mannheim and Intergang, as soon as the domes came down.
Excuse me, you're forgetting the important part.
Am I?
His nickname, Bruno Ugly Mannheim.
Okay, Bruno Ugly Mannheim. And Intergang, as soon as the domes came down, they figured out that the biggest thing, money, jewels, again, not going to be worth anything. Medicine. Medicine's going to be where it's at. So they lock down every pharmacist.
Get rid of that steamroller, Bruno.
Oh, man. They end up...
But it's so easy listening.
They take all of the pharmacists, all the people, the chemists, anyone that can even manufacture drugs, they bring in under their umbrella and take them captive, and they are now the one supplier of medicine to the entire city. Pretty smart, I think, as far as organized crime. Hey, they're going to willingly give us the money here. They keep the prices high, but not so high that people can't afford them, and just let all the money and all the riches and all the perks roll in. He's dealing with a drug dealer that was stealing all of the drugs from them, and he's having this little meeting about order, and we have to maintain things, and you're a nasty person. So he rules with an iron fist and a tank of piranhas in his office that he just hucks people into, and they all stand around and watch the piranhas eat people in his office, which I thought was kind of a nice little Bond touch, so to speak.
Aquaman's not going to be happy about that.
No, not at all. But one of the most recent acquisitions that they picked up, one of the chemists that they grabbed, was a woman by the name of Sally, who is friends with Catwoman and the actual, I guess you could say, back alley chemist in Suicide Slums. So she needs to get her back, A, because she's her friend, and B, because she was providing all the medicine to the people in Suicide Slums. Kind of breaks her way in, gets Sally out, and as they're making their way up to the rooftop to escape, that's when the dome comes down and they receive an unexpected visit from Batman. But not her Batman. No, Brian. It is the Batman of Kingdom Come, old scraggly Batman, who's like, hey, Catwoman, are you stealing things? Why are you doing that? That's bad. Oh,
I've got a really bad back.
I gotta sit down for a second. My chin is huge. Look at this chin.
Look at this neck brace I gotta wear. Oh, why am I fighting crime?
So I guess next time we'll have the meetup between Kingdom Come Batman and Purple Catwoman, because Purple Catwoman is purple.
Yeah.
Purple. It was very 90s, and I actually read a very interesting exchange on Twitter. Justin Gray, the guy that wrote this one, as well as Ron Mars, who wrote, I think, one or two this week as well. They were talking back and forth about how the biggest complaint everyone has about this week's issues is, my God, it's so 90s. It just feels so 90s. And they're using it as a negative prerogative, and they're just sitting there going, that's verbatim what we were hired to do.
Yes.
Like, you're
These are the
literally
90s
yelling at us for
characters.
doing our job and saying, write these 90s characters as 90s as you can 90s make it.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And you guys
But
are like, man.
the 90s are so hot right now. Don't you have all this nostalgic feeling for how 90s these things were?
Is it already that time again?
It's been that time, Sean.
Has it?
Nostalgia is slowly creeping up on us constantly.
Well, I'll go get my corduroys out.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Zip zop, zip zop, zip zop.
Jinkos, let's go.
All the artists on Tumblr have been drawing like old, awful 90s Marvel characters.
Oh, yeah?
Specifically from the X universe has been kind of hilarious.
Muscles on top of muscles.
Mhm, lots of pouches.
Yeah.
Flashy eyes.
Pouches full of muscles that they can pull out and strap on top of their muscles.
Unnecessary leg belts, the usual.
Just because.
Speaking of unnecessary leg belts,
Oh, boy.
let's go on to Convergence Superboy #1.
Okay.
So here's your Superboy refresher. The Metropolis Kid.
Yeah.
So he's basically Superboy if Superboy was like a Chippendales dancer.
Yeah.
He wears super tight leather jacket and a spandex suit, and he goes around saying, "Don't call me Superboy, I'm the Metropolis Kid." And he can fly and do all the crazy stuff just like Superman, but he's not claiming to be Superman. He's just this dude.
I thought he was a lot angrier than he seemed in this book.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
He's also the genetic son of Superman and Lex Luthor, but we don't find that out until much, much later.
Again, another Lex Luthor genetic thing with lots of hair.
Yeah.
I think Lex Luthor's compensating a lot nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this isn't about when he decides to wear jeans and a t-shirt and completely throw the superhero costume concept up out of the water.
So this is just before that.
This is still 90s jacket, Dwayne Wayne shades, Superboy.
Let's do it.
Don't call me Superboy. So Superboy deals with his Cadmus Lab base and what's wrong with his powers thanks to the dome. And we get to see 90s Superman supporting characters Double X and Serling, the Science Lab mall girl.
Dubstep-Alex.
Dubstep-Alex, okay. After some...
Wub, wub, wub. Well, doesn't he have wub, wub powers?
He kind of does. He's got like wub, wub brain powers, yeah. When I was going back and when I was reading those... When you're young, you sort of try to fill in the blanks of everything because you don't really know all the continuity that's constantly being thrown at you. But man, the one thing that never made any sense was Double X, because there's all these normal people working in a lab, and then there's this devil monster in a lab coat with
Hey, Double X.
Yes, hey. And it's like everyone gets like little explanation boxes and see this issue and go back and find this. No one ever explained Double X. I'm like, what is this? I can accept a lot of stuff in here. The 4 Supermen, the Doomsday Monster, all these other supporting characters that I've never seen before.
So he was the Shea Veritas of his time?
He was.
Just
he really
showed
was.
up one day and they were like, that's just
man.
Double X. He's always been here.
Yes, very much so. So after some brooding in front of the dead Superman statue, the dome comes down and Superboy is back in action. He starts seeing other superheroes. Like, oh, there's the Flash. That's so cool. It's like, wait, why is the Flash moving even faster than usual? And why is he wearing this dumb-looking pan on his head?
Yeah, what's
the Flash
up
has
with that?
I love the comments. The Flash has the best costume. Why would he change it?
Wah, wah.
Yeah. And who's this jerk in the gloomy Robin costume beating me up? Oh, it's the Kingdom Come versions of these characters. And then Kingdom Come Superman shows up and he's going to fight Superboy.
I really enjoy the theme that they're going with there, because even as I was reading this one, they were bringing it up left and right, where it's the Kingdom Come Superman already has a complete distrust of all youth after everything he dealt with Magog and everything. Where it's, the next generation are just snot-nosed, privileged kids that just think they can do whatever they want. It's up to us old guard to still hold down the fort and make sure everything's good. And then as soon as he comes over, he just sees Superboy flying around, like dancing in the streets, flashing people. And he's like, what the hell is this Superboy doing? And who's that Double X guy over there?
What's his deal?
Why is he hanging out with this weird demon-looking thing in a basement somewhere? This is weird. I don't think the super kid's any good.
Hang out with demons in the basement. That's very 90s.
No, I think it's a great theme as far as if you're going to mash two characters together like this. Those are two pretty good characters to mush together and have conflict instantly right on the surface just from them even existing in the same room with one another.
Yeah.
Pretty good, I thought.
And the Babstar cover almost makes it worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah, it's
that looks
very cool.
great. I would love to see her redesign the current Superboy.
But as I said last week, he just found a place. He just found a place, man. Let him take his shoes off for a minute. He's been roaming from book to book for so long.
But he needs some shades and a cool haircut. I'm tired of every new young superhero just wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and having a close-cut haircut.
Well, what if he has a kid-in-play haircut?
I literally work with someone who has the old Superboy haircut. Because it's come back in style. I'm just like, oh, man, it's back. It's back. Let's just run with it, man.
Does he keep dancing at you whenever you walk by?
On occasion.
Metropolis kids, stop it. Get back to work.
Man, he's just having a good time.
But that's it. That wraps up the first half. We have a little bit more. Have you noticed I've kind of jumbled together specific world versus world sections here, and I think we have a little bit more Kingdom Come on the second half here. Mm-hmm. That's why I started it off with all of the Electropolis at the front, Kingdom Come in the middle, and then maybe we'll visit San Diego at the end. Maybe. So, hold on a couple seconds, Brian. What do you have coming up next?
I've got Convergence Justice League International, Convergence Green Arrow, and Convergence Aquaman.
And I have Convergence Suicide Squad, Convergence Superman, Convergence Superman Man of Steel #1, as well as Convergence Batman Shadow of the Bat #1. Also coming up on the second half, so hold on a couple seconds. We'll be right back to go through those books.
Have returned.
Oh, it's Telos again. Hey, Telos.
Yes, this is exactly what Telos sounds like.
Man, you're just a man of many voices, aren't you?
I'm the man of a dozen voices.
The man of a dozen. So what are you starting off with this half of the show?
I'm starting off with Convergence Justice League International #1.
A lot of people looking forward to this one.
Yeah. Honestly, I was kind of surprised Giffen didn't write this one, but he's doing his own Justice League now, and I'm so glad we got Supergirl Matrix, so I'm cool with that. So
considering how south that book could have gone with that much backstory to it. Oh, jeez.
So here's your Justice League International refresher. It's the international version of the Justice League. They used to have a bunch of surprisingly big adventures, but all anyone can remember about them is that they used to have a bunch of funny conversations with each other in between and sometimes during said adventures.
It was all the also-rans, right?
Yeah.
The superheroes that would never have made the Justice League prior. That
it was like Batman, Aquaman, and Martian Manhunter, and then everybody else. You can't support your own books. You get to be in the Justice League.
Mash you in jail. There you go. Have fun.
So the JLI of Blue Beetle, Fire, Ice, Martian Manhunter, Red Tornado, and Captain Atom are trapped under the dome, but even without powers, they're still helping people, like when a bunch of Metallos attack the city.
I hate when that happens.
So many Metallos. Blue Beetle is sad that Booster Gold is not there, which is an interesting role reversal considering what happens to him later.
Aww.
Yeah. And
much later.
And he's very sad for several pages. And then the dome comes down, and so everyone gets their powers back except Blue Beetle, who never had any powers.
How are all the Metallo robots walking around?
They're robots.
But it turned off Arsenal's cyborg arm.
But they're robots.
These rules are not solid. There seems to be no rhyme or reason.
It's a different dome. You know, each dome's got a slightly different color depending on what color it's.
Okay, so the purple domes turn off robotics. Mm-hmm. The green ones don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're onto something here. You know, I'm just giving flack too because it's stories, just whatever. Make it up as you go. I don't give a crap.
How do you kill a vampire? However you want to. They're fictional characters.
Yes.
I'll just keep referencing that for the.
I was gonna say you basically brought it up like 6 times now. The Max Landis death.
Did you know that Doomsday is Foggy Nelson?
I did not know that.
Pretty interesting little factoid. He's also Fulton Reed, the original Bash brother from the Mighty Ducks.
Man, never would have known that either.
Yeah. So I'm like, who is this guy? He's hilarious. I'm like, oh, this is all the other stuff I know him from. Once the dome goes down, the JLI is going to have to face the Kingdom Come Justice League, or at least a bunch of other characters from the Kingdom Come timeline, like, Jerk Shazam and Nightstar, the daughter of Nightwing and Starfire.
Okay.
So there's going to be a fight.
Well, it doesn't seem as fun as I would think it would be.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as...
There was some smarminess, though.
There was some smarminess.
I mean, they were kind of goofing around. They had a really bad meeting. Blue Beetle broke his arm and then got angry and ripped off the cast. That's how angry he was. Like, I'm going to punch someone in the face with my broken arm.
Yeah. This is another one. This is where the backup explanation page is almost better than the rest of the story.
It is, and oh my god, they did the little thing about Martian Manhunter and his cookies.
His addiction to cookies. Yes.
I didn't realize it was an actual drug addiction. I thought it was he just really liked cookies.
Yeah, this is like the This is like the JLI greatest hits on these last two pages, and it's amazing. Like Blue Beetle and Booster Gold starting up a Justice League themed casino.
Yes.
All of the immortal Guy Gardner moments, and of course my favorite, the Justice League Antarctica who fought a colony of killer penguins.
Yes.
Literally the only story you can write with a Justice League Antarctica.
I was just really confused with that whole Martian Man, because it's painted so innocently.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Oh, Martian Manhunter, he likes cookies. Yep. And then I read that, and I'm like, holy shit, that was like heroin to him. And everyone's like, give him more cookies. Yep.
Ride the snake, Martian Manhunter.
Just completely changed the way I looked at all that stuff, and it was just so wrong after that. Oh man, someone got Batman's Chacos. Oh, it was Martian Manhunter again. He's such a smack addict.
I think maybe you could equate it more with cigarettes than with smack, but
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think others said that it was like alcohol.
Yeah,
that's how it treated his body, but. To be the way they phrase that though, they phrase it as if it was pure heroin that he was shooting up.
Yeah,
mainlining Chacos, just a bunch of Choco dust all over the console all the time.
Yeah, just doing lines off the crumbs in the at the bottom of the bag. Yeah,
Martian dollar bills all over the place, rolled up. So next up, I have Convergence. Wow, we really went off on a
family-friendly podcast, everybody.
Next up, I have Convergence Suicide Squad #1. Where we're dealing as well in the 0 Hour timeline. So things aren't quite the same. This was done by Frank Thierry and Tom Mandrake. And Under the Dome, they've been there for a while now, about a year. And it's gotten to a point where people are figuring out that the superheroes don't have superpowers anymore. So the villains are all kind of like, you know what? We could probably take down some of our tougher foes with just conventional weapons at this point. And there's a dinner meeting between Deadshot and Toyman where Toyman wants him to kill Superman and it was going to pay him for it. And he's like, you know what? There's like 10 Supermen out there right now. So for a cool mill, I'll kill them all for you. And Toyman agrees to it. And as he hands over the money, that's when the dome falls. And Toyman's like, oh, it sucks to be you. You have to kill them all now. And they all have their powers back. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. And that's when Deadshot goes, no, I just have to kill you, and shoots Toyman in the head and walks away.
Well, with like, the money, you know.
Oh, poor Toyman.
Yep.
Kind of really wasn't thinking that one through there, were you, when you were taunting Deadshot?
Yeah.
But with the dome falling and all these giant declarations of war from Telos as he's telling the entire city that they're going to have to fight for their survival, Amanda Waller, a.k.a. The Wall, old school Amanda Waller. Yes, The Waller is getting the team back together because they're going to have to run Black Ops to protect their city. And she's brought in some of the people that were out there walking free, like Deadshot, etc. In this case, she's gotten a couple new people on the team as well. And Oracle or Barbara Gordon, I guess this is pre-Oracle for her, or did she already take on that mantle?
I honestly don't know. I'm a little sketchy on that.
Okay, I think this was like right before she took on the role of Oracle elsewhere.
Okay, was she in a wheelchair already?
Yeah, she's already in the wheelchair. It's just she's already doing the intelligence work.
Gotcha.
But it was right after when she was coming back in, and I guess the only place she could get in was the Suicide Squad as far as helping them out.
Gotcha.
While she built up her contacts and everything like that. And then eventually goes freelance and becomes the Oracle that we all know that helps out the Bat family.
Computer head.
Yeah. So she's working with Amanda Waller, and the other people have brought in the now repowered villains, some of the heavy hitters to help out this team with their upcoming mission. People like Bane, who has broken the back of the Bat, just in case you didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what Bane did. Black Manta, Deathstroke, and the cherry on top, Cyborg Superman, that they just found laying off in a corner somewhere, and they were like, he's probably going to be useful.
He looks surprisingly like Elijah Wood.
He does.
Why does he have this tape on his face?
I don't know. But they also have the regular team of Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Poison Ivy, Bronze Tiger, Vertigo, and Carol Ferris, who I guess worked with them before. Star Sapphire used to be evil. Instead of a good guy, she was just a dual personality.
Yeah.
Whenever Star Sapphire came out, it was, ooh, kill Green Lantern. And then she would go back to Carol Ferris and be like,
and sometimes she would
love
turn into
Green Lantern.
And sometimes she would turn into a man called the Predator.
Okay. Okay. Comics, everybody.
Yeah, hey, kids, comics.
Comics. That's an awkward date for Hal Jordan. No wonder he locked himself away. He's like, it's not safe out there. I was hooking up with my girlfriend. She tried to kill me, and then she turned into a dude. And it was just, the whole night was ruined. It was ruined. I had to destroy Coast City and all of the other people out there.
Cartoon Network's about to start showing Toonami, and I'm going to see episodes of Ranma Half, and it's going to make it even more confusing for me. At least there's that adorable panda.
But there's a mission at hand. That's why they need all these heavy hitters. And this mission is something that will require these heavy hitters, because as they're looking around, they find the Kingdom Come Earth is their neighbor. Their neighbor to the north is Kingdom Come. And as soon as the dome dropped and they got their powers back, the Green Lantern of the Kingdom Come Earth, remember Kingdom Come is like 20 years in the future, so it's like older versions, much more focused and powerful versions of a lot of these characters as well. The Green Lantern of Kingdom Come has built a giant watchtower to defend all of any advance into their city above the city from Kingdom Come. And he's calling it New Oa, and they're like, well, we gotta take down that watchtower if we're gonna even do anything to defend ourselves against these people. And that's what this team is about to do. But even with all that muscle, it's a suicide mission, Brian. It's a suicide mission. Luckily, the Suicide Squad, that's their job. But Barbara Gordon may have an ace in the hole because she's opened up communications with the city itself, and she may have found someone that will maybe betray the city to help them out in their mission. And that person is really fat, bald, no flowing locks of hair, future Lex Luthor, who goes, oh, I was going to rule this city, but all these old heroes just won't retire. So if I can't rule it, I'm going to burn it to the ground. Sure, I'll give you guys a hand. And he opens up this weird little case that was tucked away somewhere and slips on this yellow ring that, is it supposed to be like a power ring, or is it a kryptonite ring?
That might be his old kryptonite ring.
Okay, that would make sense.
That was like a really big trope of Lex Luthor.
Well, yeah, that's. I just wasn't sure which direction they were going with it, and they obviously didn't want to explain it in this issue. And that's kind of where it was. Is it his special decoder ring to talk to Oracle?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think more Ovaltine. What is this?
Oracle! So yeah, really solid issue as far as.
Yeah, I read this one too. It's the one of yours that I actually read this week.
It was it's the gritty, dark, these people are not good people, but they will do what needs to be done to protect their citizens. And it felt like it. There was a lot of betrayal, a lot of double teaming, and just never know who's working on what side of the issue. And there was a little bit of a flash forward at the beginning of this one that I'll leave off.
Yeah.
And that shows even more betrayal and stuff coming down the pike. So it was a good read. Yep. It was definitely a good read.
And it's got, your animated Amanda Waller, if you liked her in Justice League Unlimited.
Just being a total B.
Yep.
Total B.
That's our wall. All right. Moving on to Convergence Green Arrow. So here's your Green Arrow refresher.
Here we go.
Back in the 90s, Green Arrow had certain political views that were the focal point of his character.
Okay.
In the Radioactive Man universe, this is like...
Wait, there's an actual Radioactive Man he has his own universe?
Okay, this is me going super 90s on you.
Okay, go for it.
When Bongo Comics started, they did like a 6-issue Radioactive Man series, and the joke was they did one issue from each era of him going throughout time.
Okay.
And so your 90s era Green Arrow analog character changed his name to Bleeding Heart.
Oh.
Yeah.
So taking a little bit of a jab there.
Just a bit.
I believe before we even start, well, I don't believe, I know this for a fact.
By the way, if you can track down those old Radioactive Man issues, they are amazing.
Just snapshots of certain eras of comics?
Yeah, exactly. It's like tributes to those eras of comics, and it sort of gave me a nice backbone to like think when they refer back to old things, like, oh, it's like that old issue of Radioactive Man.
So this is the Silver Age, and this is the Bronze Age, and this is the modern.
The 80s one brutally mocks Watchmen,
Oh, nice.
And crossovers of the era. It's pretty good.
Yeah, when we were talking about this one prior, like during the half break there, I said the only word that kept popping into my mind as I was reading this one was just sanctimonious. That was all I could think of when I was reading this Green Arrow, and I was like, man, dude, just relax a little bit.
Yeah, so anyway, this is a hippie liberal Green Arrow who has recently learned about the result of his all the free love back in the day.
Yeah.
He's got a kid, the second Green Arrow, Connor Hawke, who's the one that I grew up with.
Okay.
So, and this is also back when he was always dating a Black Canary on and off, which is why Laurel keeps ruining all of your Olicity fan fiction.
Yep. Way to go.
Yep.
Way to go, 90s. Still ruining everything.
Yep. So Green Arrow is busy helping people who are mad at the dome and being self-destructive because he's a nice guy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the dome, his multiracial son is dealing with white supremacists in the most black and white, pun not intended, possible story for Green Arrow of the 90s.
Are they in Los Angeles? Was Rodney King there?
No.
That's 90s.
All I know is they're gathering up. They're having these big rallies. There's only so many jobs in this here dome, and they want to take our jobs. So Connor's using his rec center or whatever house all the people who are getting hassled by the white. He uses his rec center / Buddhist temple to house all the people that are getting hassled by the white supremacists.
That sounds like the 90s movie where it's like the ski lodge that's a ski lodge / Buddhist temple. They're going to take it away
working
from
there,
us.
you know. All I want to do is make my ships in the bottles, but these terrorists keep attacking. Oh, I've got to start kicking people in the head again. So once he realizes that
Green Arrow is under the dome too,
he constructs an arrow so he can fire off.
So it's an arrow that shoots arrows?
He shoots it off into the sky, and it creates like a smoke arrow that points down at his Buddhist temple.
A green smoke arrow.
A green smoke arrow, yeah. And like even Ollie's off on the other side, so it's like, a big literal green arrow pointing down at something. That's probably for me.
I'm thinking that's a calling card for me.
And I know, and meanwhile, Connor's just kind of like jumping up and down. He's like, oh man, I'm giving my dad some white supremacists to beat up. This sure beats a tie for Father's Day.
He's
going to
love me for this. I'm giving him exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
A very easy social issue for you to pick sides upon so that he can prey upon these people and beat them up. And everyone is happy at the end of the day, except for the poor white supremacists.
Well,
You got to feel bad for those guys in comic books. They just get punched in the face so much.
Yep. So
I'm being sarcastic, Internet. I'm being sarcastic. Just want to put that out there.
So Ollie shows up, fights off the bigots, and Connor introduces himself to his dad for the first time. Awkward.
Yeah, hey.
Because I think in the comics, Ollie actually died before Connor showed up.
Okay, well,
so
I guess that's a little easier to...
Again, this is one of those stories you couldn't tell now. So
okay,
here you go.
Okay.
So then the dome comes down, so Connor and Ollie team up, and they get teleported off to face against the Kingdom Come Dinah Queen and her daughter, the Black Canary. Oliver's future alternate timeline kid.
How?
So he's teaming up with his kid to fight his future wife and his other kid.
That he doesn't know exists
Yes.
because it's a different timeline.
Yeah,
I'm
so
telling you, multiverse, terrifying.
Yep.
Could you imagine the back payments on child support he's going to have to make
God,
in the multiverse?
I know. All I know is watch out, Dick Grayson. Father of the Year is still up for grabs.
Man, we're really going to have to put this award together.
We are. Come Father's Day, we're going to have to do like a poll or something.
I think so, because these people are really... Oh, they're gunning for it hard. They just want it so bad they could taste it.
Yeah.
They could taste it. Again, really sanctimonious, but at the same time, you're telling me that was 90s Green Arrow, so I can't fault them for writing who he was in that time frame whatsoever, because that's the vibe they got across. So next up, I have Convergence, Superman, Man of Steel, #1. That has nothing to do with Superman. Well, I guess something to do with Superman, because when Superman died in the 90s, 4 different people decided they were going to take on the mantle of Superman, and one of them was John Henry Irons, who, when he was born, clearly knew he was going to have to fight against machines or something, I guess. Wield a sledgehammer at the very least.
Yes.
He just always had it on hand because his name was John Henry Irons. I'm going to need this someday. But he ended up making a suit of steel to help carry on Superman's legacy, which is a nice storyline for a character, I think. If Superman dies and some normal everyman decides, okay, well, he's a symbol, I'm going to follow in his footsteps and try to help people. I'm not Superman, but I'll build this suit with rocket boots and stuff, because we can all do that. We're just too lazy to do it, really.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason we don't have hoverboards. We're all just too lazy right now. So he does so, and he is helping defend Metropolis while it's under the dome. He's not alone, though, because he has his niece and nephew, Jamal and Natasha, who have also built robot suits of their own because they were always helping Uncle Henry or Uncle John put together fix his suit, and they figured out how to do it from there.
I don't know if they were from that era, but I guess if anyone would know, it'd be Louise Simonson.
Yeah, who wrote this one.
Yeah, because I know Natasha from 52, if anything.
Okay, yeah, that's where I knew her too. Yeah. That's why I got mixed up last week when we were talking about it. They're not alone, though. They also have the help of their Professor Hamilton, who apparently was a big guy for the amount of times he's showing up. Was he like a big support character for the Superman family just all the time?
He was just, if you need a scientist, here's Professor Hamilton.
Okay, fair enough. Well, they have taken the mascot of Steel and his family, a cat by the name of Alley Cat, and decided to inject it with some of the techno-organic particles that they found in the dome because science.
Yeah, we're all about coulda, not shoulda.
And as I have said many, many times, I was not reading comics in the 90s. I wasn't reading comics in the 2000s, but while I would be out with friends that did read comics, the phrase techno-organic virus was said so many times. And now in hindsight, I know that was a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
As far as their huge X-Men storylines were going on.
Every single X-Man had a techno-organic virus at one point or another.
But as soon as they said that,
there was a crossover where they literally fought a gigantic techno-organic virus collective.
But as soon as I was reading this, I was like, whoa, that's 90s. Someone used techno-organic virus?
Yep.
They just harnessed all of the 90s in 3 words. But it turns the...
If only it was transmitted via a slap bracelet, they'd be set.
But it turns the Alley Cat into a cybernetic cat that then they go, well...
That wears a lot of hypercolor.
It does, and they're just kind of like, well, that's not what we expected to happen. What did you really expect to happen when you injected techno-organic virus into an Alley Cat? I'm just curious, where did they think that was going? But as shocking as that discovery is, it's disrupted when a bunch of ex-LexCorp troopers come bashing through the walls because they're having a gang war outside, where I guess all the LexCorp, was really huge right before Lex Luthor died of cancer, to the point where he had a standing army practically.
Sure, why not?
Okay, I'm asking you because I don't know this.
I'm just assuming he's always got them, you know.
Well, they're all wearing their little armor suits and they're flying around, and of course they're using some of Steel's technology that was stolen, and he's like, oh, you stole my tech. I have my patents right here, you bastards. And he goes out there to fight them off and beat them down. But as Steel is up there fighting them off, Jamal and Natasha don their suits because they see there's a ruckus going on down at Bibbo's bar.
Yeah, Bibbo.
And I had to ask you who Bibbo was.
I love Bibbo so much.
So why don't you just give the rundown of who Bibbo is?
Okay, so Bibbo is a dumb former boxer who owns like a bar down on the docks or something along those lines, and he loves Superman. He loves Superman so much. He's his favorite.
He's his favorite?
FAV'Rit.
Oh, favorite.
Yes. If there's one character from the aforementioned Death and Return of Superman trade that I kind of loved and wished showed up more, it was Bibbo, because when everyone was so sad that Superman died, Bibbo was there just trying to help as much as, an ex-boxer, dock worker possibly can. And he's just like, but Superman was my favorite. I gotta help out.
I'll help you out. Do you need boxing lessons?
I'll help you because Superman was my favorite, And Bibbo is one of those fun things where like you'll see like in just random comics in the background, if someone walks down an alley, there'll be like an old boxing poster for like Ted Grant v. Bibbo, match of the century.
Oh, see, that's that world building touch
exactly.
that I like, the little stuff that's always in the back corners that no one really sees unless they're looking for it.
Yeah, if I were to be writing a Superman right now, I'm sure I'd find a way to bring Bibbo into the new 52.
Well, right now, Bibbo's bar is being attacked by looters while the gang war is going off. And, they cannot let that stand because Bibbo's always been so nice to Jamal and Natasha. So they don their armor suits, including the hair armor that they have.
I don't get it either.
I don't get that at all. And they fly down there and beat up all of the people looting. And that's when the dome comes down, Brian. It drops right then and there. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how all those supervillains didn't have their powers and they were just normal people? Well, one of these looters happens to be Parasite, who goes, oh, hey, I got my powers back. And look, hey, some robot suits. I'll just drain these real quick. And he grabs Jamal, drains him, and knocks him unconscious. And Natasha ends up flying him away to safety. Actually, back to Professor Hamilton. And while Parasite is down there doing his thing, and Steel's up in the sky, just beating up all these LexCorp troopers up there, a power cord rips through the air because there's this massive explosion of Mountain Dew Code Red, hacky sacks, wallet chains, and corduroy pants as Gen 13 just explode onto the stage. They are teleported there for their battle against Steel. And
was someone there standing behind Fairchild to hold her boobs for her?
No one was there to help her out. But it's Fairchild, Burnout, Freefall, Rainmaker, and the 90st of 90s characters, Grunge. I'm sorry, I can never take a character with the name Grunge invented in the 90s seriously.
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't.
He had his flannel tied around his waist, right?
No, actually he didn't.
But that's a trademark of the character.
Well, maybe he did. Maybe
Okay.
I'm just not remembering it correctly. That's a trademark of the character.
Yes, it is.
That's hysterical.
I know very little about Gen 13, but I know one thing: Grunge has always got his flannel tied around his waist. That's how he talked to the kids in the 90s. Like, I understand him.
Oh, okay.
He gets me.
He's got flannel and it's tied around his waist. He's one of us.
Yep.
But they attack Steel because they assume that he's going to be attacking their city, but they're confused about the whole thing. They're good guys. They're the kids of the original Team 7. Isn't that what their whole thing is? They're the offspring of all the old school Team 7 members. A cursory glance search on him gave me that. Them
Okay.
and
Because I forgot.
DVH.
No, yes, I know
so
about DVH,
bad.
which is there. Yeah. Yeah,
So
the
bad.
evil Gen 13. I'm aware of them. Yeah, I forget that Team 7 wasn't a DC thing now that they've had the Team 7 like modern New 52 version.
Nope. That was off over there, and that was their whole big thing. And then Lynch, who we've seen in the New 52 stuff, was the leader of Gen 13, or at least their handler, and sent them off on missions. But they're all confused. Why did they send us over here to beat up one guy? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem fair. And that's when Parasite jumps in and is like, powers, nom nom nom, and starts sucking out powers from Gen 13. And they're like, oh, he's not alone. Look, he's got this big pink chewing gum thing that's on his team as well. So back to beating them up again. That's perfectly normal for us. And, what's her name? Natasha flies in to try to help out because things are going south pretty quickly. And they assume, okay, it's another robot person. Let's all blast her. So everyone turns to shoot her down out of the sky. And that's when John Henry Irons / Steel goes, no, and jumps in front of the blast. Taking the entire blast and just blasting his armor off of his body. And he just crumples to the ground. And Natasha picks him up and flies him back to Dr. Hamilton while Gen 13 continues to fight against Parasite. Except this time now Fairchild's like, maybe that guy wasn't working with the big chewing gum guy because they don't seem to be the same types of people. And that guy was that lady was calling her his uncle. Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we rushed into these things. Maybe as kids in the 90s, we weren't thinking things through all the way. His name is Grunge. Apparently, we're not thinking things through all the way. So they
It's gonna last forever, Sean.
They fly Steel back to Professor Hamilton, who straps him into a machine and goes, I got some bad news. His armor's shattered. It's not going to be used again. His back is broken. 90% of his body is covered in 1st degree and 3rd degree burns. If only we had something that we could cover him with that might help him, I don't know, maybe hold himself together.
Maybe destroy all emotions.
Maybe destroy all emotions. Maybe some sort of liquid material that we could cover him with.
And still maintain the trademark of his name.
Somehow, I don't know, but somehow I think if we had that, things would be better, and that's where it ended. So now looking too good for Steel. Gets a big push here. Gets to come back into the limelight, and within 18 pages is back broken.
Yep.
All of his skin's burnt off, and his suit is destroyed. So
poor guy.
Poor guy indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guy indeed. I know he's kind of a rookie still at this point. He couldn't have been at it too long, but
yeah. Already has
still.
2 sidekicks. I mean,
True.
got that going for him.
And he's got Bibbo to help him
Yeah.
out at least. So he's got allies and an alley cat that's infected with a techno-organic device. So if any X-Men show up, the alley cat will help him out.
Well, Gen 13 were basically sexy teen X-Men.
Well, there you go.
They
you know what? If the next issue, the alley cat infects them all with a techno-organic virus and they all have to go off into time
It all
travel
makes
things,
sense.
I'm just going to go, you know what, Louis Simonson? You have harnessed the 90s.
Yep.
Entirely.
Yes, but remember, Sean, they weren't mutants. They were Gen active.
Yes.
That's how you knew they weren't mutants because they were Gen active.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I believe
which comes
your
into
next
play in the
title,
next one, exactly, which is why I made sure I brought that up early. So I've got Convergence Aquaman #1.
Such a weird
So here's your
book.
Aquaman refresher. Back in the 90s, Aquaman got his hand eaten off by piranhas, so he got a cool grappling hook put there instead.
You know what? The cartoon version of that story seems like it would have much more gravitas. Do you remember what happened in the cartoon? Where Orm tied him and his child to a rock that was sliding into a volcano, and since Aquaman was chained, he couldn't get to his kid to save it, and he ended up using the A on his belt to hack his own hand off to get his kid to safety, so he could throw the kid off to safety.
Jeez,
so much.
How do I not remember that episode?
Yeah, dude, those things are dark. That was in the first season, too.
I know more of the Unlimited stuff, but I just remember the first time I saw him show up, he already had his hook hand. So,
yeah, that was in the first season when they first introduced Aquaman and all this stuff was going on. He hacked off his own hand.
Yeah, that cartoon was not for kids, but hey.
Well, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I loved it, but
that seems like such a more, I don't know what happened with the piranha. Well, I do know what happened.
There's
chlamydia used some sort of
Charybdis, thank you very much.
Used some sort of stole his psychic powers.
He basically did the Creature King gambit where he stole the like fish control powers,
thing, yeah.
And negated that, and
that
then,
chlamydia so dangerous.
Yep. Did
chlamydia live in Scatman Tarsus?
and then Aquaman got on those chlamydia awareness posters, and everyone just got really confused, and it really ruined his love life for a while. Or was that an episode of Friends? I forget.
I think that was Friends.
Okay. So, Hookhand...
It's 90s enough. You can draw it.
Hookhand Aquaman is trapped under the dome.
Does he have long hair?
He does have long hair.
Hook for hand?
He's got a beard. Long hair. Long hair. Hook for hand. Aquaman.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a #1 hit someday.
Yep. So...
At least in Sweden. I'm pretty sure I can get it to top the charts in Sweden.
Yeah,
throw a fat beat under there. I can do this, man. Some heavy guitars. Weedle, weedle, weedle.
Yes, get Swissguard Squigelf to write it and we'll be set. So Hookman Aquaman, he's trapped under the dome. He doesn't have any water to swim in because he beat up Chemo in the harbor and poisoned the water hole.
That's again 90s characters not thinking things through. I got one little batch of water here. I'm going to take this giant chemical monster and beat him up there. That seems like a good idea.
He thought he was going to fall into the big, gigantic building, but instead he fell into the water. He's like, oh, wrong way. I'm not a good lumberjack. I live underwater. Come on.
I want to see that issue where it's 10 pages of Chemo teetering backward. And he's like,
No.
And then he teeters forward. He's like, no.
Is Aquaman being played by Shia LaBeouf here? So... Aquaman is just swinging around the city, helping people like a bionic commando, but everyone just feels really bad for him. In this dome, it's like he's trapped in a fishbowl. Also, he now lives in the Metropolis Aquarium.
Well, he did. Didn't he end up moving out?
No. He's
they
still
let
there.
him stay there? Okay.
Yeah. And everyone's like, I love the like scientist that like helped him with get his hook hand and stuff. He's like, yeah, Aquaman, that's public property. You can't really go in there. It's like, but everyone's just sort of like letting you, so okay.
We just really feel bad for you,
Yeah.
Aquaman. I just love the fact that he's taking the long shower, and I just picture everyone else in that facility like, there's no hot water! Aquaman!
So, the dome comes down, and the Department of Extranormal Operations is none too pleased because now all these characters that they were superpowered characters that they're trying to keep the wraps on,
which is pretty easy when they didn't have powers,
are now like active again. Like, oh crap, Parallax is back. Oh, I want to have to deal with Parallax. This was so much easier when the dome was here.
Oh wait, he just flew off to that shuffle city. I think we're good.
Okay, good. And then, so all these other threats are active, and then suddenly the entire DEO gets murdered with bullets. Their only weakness, because Wildstorm universe is dead.
Fire as well. Fire's pretty bad for him. Sharp serrated objects also do a little damage. I want to say falls from great heights might do some things too.
Yeah, but...
spiders. I'm very afraid of spiders. Okay, we have nothing to fear but fear itself and spider.
Because Wildstorm Universe's Deathblow, the most 90s of Punisher ripoffs, has shown up, and he is shooting to murder, as he does.
Was it a murder, death, kill? Do you know how to use the 3 seashells? Really? Nothing?
Nothing.
Demolition Man? Come on,
Okay,
man.
no.
Come on.
Is that the one with the spaghetti robot?
Rob
Schneider?
That's Judge Dredd.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jeez, man.
Sorry, man. I didn't watch any of those movies that were very similar in the 90s.
I guess I could see that. Sly Stallone and Rob Schneider were in both of them.
Oh, God,
and they
really?
were both future movies. So, yeah, I guess I can see
How
where
did that
you're
happen? How did Rob Schneider become friends with Sylvester Stallone? Good Lord. So,
90s were a dark era, my friend.
Seriously.
A dark era.
Why do people want to bring it back?
Because they like that sound of corduroys, man.
Yep.
No one can sneak up on you. So easy for Batman.
Yeah, so Deathblow went there to look up intel on all the city's heroes so he could find like an easy one to off and impress Telos, I guess. So he finds Aquaman. He says, "Oh yeah, this will be a piece of cake."
He talks to fish.
Throws
Come on.
a goldfish on the ground and steps on it for good measure. And he's like, "Oh yeah, going off to fight Aquaman. This is gonna be a piece of cake."
Dude, that scene was so hysterically over the top, where it's the goldfish and they zoom in on it with it just flopping on the ground, and then he just stomps on it all harsh and lights up a cigar. And he's like, "Yeah, Deathblow hates goldfish."
Yep. And I did love the thing where he's like looking at the paper. He's like, "How is this universe different from mine?" He's like, "Well, they call them metahumans here. We just call them Gen Actives. It's all the same.
Yeah,
it's all the same thing.
Tomato.
Yep.
Mutants, Gen Actives, metahumans.
All the same difference.
Bullets are all their weakness.
Yep. Also, I love the Becky Cloonan cover. I just like Becky Cloonan's artwork.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that as well.
Definitely evocative of her style. And it stands out whenever she does anything that I'm like, oh, that's another Cloonan piece. Yeah, nice. And I'm not saying that like, another Cloonan piece.
Yeah.
No, it has a nice vibrancy to it that I like. So last one. I saved the best for last, Brian.
Okay.
So when everyone's waiting for, it is Convergence, Batman, Shadow of the Bat, number 1.
That's a lot of colons.
I'm just throwing colons in there. It's Super Colon Blow. Favorite commercial from
I love
Saturday
that.
Night
It's the
Live.
best.
Yeah. But this is, again, 90s era Batman. And something happened to Batman just before 0 Hour. Not too far before it. I don't know if you know this, Brian, but a character by the name of Bane broke the bat upon his knee.
He did?
I know. It must have slipped through. It's one of those
Yes.
really below the radar storylines that happened. Bane never brings it up. Ever.
No, you really got to dig into the Wikipedia to figure that part out.
Bane
it only gets like one line in the Who's Who.
Yeah, he's real hush-hush about it. Doesn't want to brag.
No.
I broke the bat over my knee. Yeah, I guess
Modesty
I did.
is Bane's forte.
Oh, yes. But as he has come back, while he was down, actually, while his back was broken, another character took on the mantle of Batman. A much more 90s Batman. A more extreme Batman.
A pointier Batman.
A robot Batman. A guy by the name of Jean-Paul Vallée. Am I pronouncing it correct? Or is
Maybe.
it Valley?
I don't know.
But he ended up taking on the mantle of Batman, became extra brutal, and decided he was going to cross the line and just start offing people instead of taking them to jail, because so much easier. A lot less paperwork, too. Didn't have to show up to court all the time and be like, yeah, Batman, I arrested him for doing this, and I got a really busy day. I got like 10 more of these to go to today, and my Tuesday's booked. Solid. If you kill him, you could just go to lunch on Tuesday and not have to worry about it. Sleep in.
Can I put a little pause on the Jean-Paul Vallée Batman?
Sure.
One of my original comic shops I would go to, like the front window, you couldn't see inside of it. It was like the most stereotypical comic shop you could possibly imagine.
Okay.
But the front window was just plastered with all the promotional posters, and the guy that was running it left the Azrael Batman poster up in the window, like way long past the expiration date. And I even brought it up once, and he's just like, I'm just going to leave it there until it's completely white. Just because.
He's going to let nature do its thing to erase it from memory.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I appreciate that kind of commitment, because everything else is changing out, but never that one. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
And no, in researching this thing, I guess the entire point of the story was that this was in the 90s, and things were extreme, and you had all these image books like Bloodshot, and you had
everyone was coated with like banded metal.
And it was just death everywhere. And
leg belts.
And Batman was still hokily not killing people. Like, nope. Killing people's bad, Robin. We don't do that. And they were like everyone was just clamoring, hey, you have to update Batman, bring him up to speed, get him into this whole modern era thing. So this storyline was them going, is that what you want? Here you go. I'm going to give you the most 90s extreme thing I can have. Here, he's in a robot suit, and it's all neon colors all over the place, and he shoots little bat spikes out all over his body, and giant flaming swords sometimes, and pouches everywhere.
Yeah, this is the one that seemed like this is the one that seemed almost like, yeah, we know what we were doing from the beginning. Just trust us.
And it was kind of a monkey paw thing for comic readers. Like, if that's what you want, this is what you will get. And everyone was like, no, get this abomination away from me.
Oh, you wanted Batman back. We're professional storytellers, and we know what we're doing. Who'd have thought?
And that was when they started bringing back Batman in this case. And that's kind of where we're picking it up here, where he's back, but he's still not fully healed. He just went through all the training to get his...
It takes a good 20 minutes.
It does.
I know. Of climbing up a wall.
I know. Those prison
Turkish
doctors,
prison or something.
Yeah, those prison doctors are not as quick as your normal doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get in and out in 10 minutes with a broken back in Beverly Hills, but prison doctors, it's going to take a good 20, twice as long. God damn. So as we saw in Catwoman, the criminal element has kind of zoomed in to fill up holes, claim their little arenas underneath the dome. So we have Inner Gang and Ugly Mannheim over there scooping up all the medicine. And here in Shadow of the Bat, the much more intimidating enemy, a man by the name of Tobias Whale, who is a big gray dude with a weird face.
Like the 8th tier mob boss of Gotham City.
The only time I've seen him was in a DCU Presents team up between Black Lightning and Blue Devil. And I was like, okay, so these are the characters that deal with this guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can understand that. You can't really just shove him out there against the A-listers all the time. But to have the Batman one being like, yeah, he's going to fight Tobias Whale. I was like, okay, well, I guess he's broken. He was broken over Bane's knee. Newsflash again. I know no one knows this. But okay, I guess that's what we're going to do. So instead of trying to fight Tobias Whale, he's trying to infiltrate the Whale's operations as Bruce Wayne. Hey, I got a lot of money and clout. I just got my back fixed up.
Does he try to warm up to Tobias Whale by putting on some short shorts?
No, he actually just walks into his hideout and says, I want in on this whole thing. You guys are where all the money and power is going to be, and I would like to maintain my status as a rich and powerful person. They go, well, I don't quite trust you. I'm going to have my muscle beat you up and make sure you're telling the truth. So Tobias Whale walks away, and the muscle walks in. A guy by the name of Johnny Valley, who, of course, is Jean-Paul Vallée, who has also infiltrated the operation and was going to take it down from the inside. And they have their little conversation because they're alone. He's like, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I want to take this guy down. What are you doing here? Well, I was going to kill him. Well, didn't we have this conversation already, Azrael Batman? No more killing in Gotham City. But I'm willing to let us team up to take this guy down because he wants to steal all the food and hold it hostage. So what do you say we team up? And he goes, yeah, sure, but I'm still going to kill people, just so you know that. He's like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's literally what he says in the book. It's like, we'll fix that when we get there. It's like, you've already dealt with this guy once before. You know he is going to straight up murder people. You don't just brush that under the rug and go, you're so silly, Azrael. You're not going to murder people. Oh, you're such a goof. So they come back to Tobias Whale, and Whale says, okay, well, go get us the intel of what route they're going to use to ship the food. And they go lean on a corrupt city councilman, quite literally because his name sounds like he's corrupt. They're like, this guy's name is Erasmus Hall. He sounds like a bad guy. We should go lean on him. And they lean on him. They're like,
did I write this issue of Batman?
And they have their whole conversation. He's like, I can't tell you that. He's like, your name's Erasmus Hall. You're obviously crooked. Just give us the information or we'll kill you. And he's like, you got me. I had this name over here. I was going to go team up with Ignatius Ogilvy. We have a golf match later, but our names are very standout-ish. God damn comics. And he ends up giving them the intel. They end up going back, giving that intel to Tobias Whale, and then they suit up, robot suits and normal Batman suit, because they want to catch Tobias in the act so they can lock him up, or in Azrael's case, just straight up murder him.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why Azrael would need proof to murder him, but hey, comics. Which then leads us to the most 90s Fast and the Furious scene of car hijackings and them trying to steal trucks while they're driving down the street possible. And it's them like taking tow trucks and trying to hook onto cars. Meanwhile, Batman and Azrael are fighting on top of the trucks and they're flipping over and cars are exploding. And
they have roller skates on. Are they skitching?
They are. And Vin Diesel's just driving by like, man, that doesn't look safe at all.
Pardon me while I go jump off a building with my car.
Just because.
Yeah.
And while all of this is happening...
But only a quarter mile at a time.
Batman's screaming at Azrael because Azrael wants to kill all the people. Didn't see that one coming, Batman. I don't know why you didn't think he was going to do this. And as he's trying to break it up, 2 new players drop their cloaks that have been watching from afar. And it turns out to be Jester and Pilgrim, 2 of the members from Wetworks.
What?
That time slipped back to this point so that they could get intel on their enemies in the upcoming battle.
Man, talk about your banded metal body parts. That's these guys, isn't it?
Honestly, I probably should have saved the explosion of Mountain Dew Code Red and Wild Change for these guys. But Gen 13 to me just encapsulate that. Just because of grunge. Just because of grunge. But yeah, they're there and they're like, oh, wow, good thing we came back to look at these guys. I bet you
90s should have been Surge instead of Mountain Dew.
No, true.
Maybe some Justa.
Some Jolt.
Justa with guarana.
Jolt. Yeah. It's got more caffeine that's legally allowed. Oh, 90s marketing. But yeah, they show up and they're like, I guess we could probably just shoot them. That would probably work against these guys. I guess we could do that. And unfortunately, they are disrupted, though, when they both sense another time slip coming in, and they're like, is that our team? No, they're supposed to wait for us at the normal waiting point. What's happening here? Who's coming back in time again? We're forward in time to time, back to the future now. I don't know. I'm assuming the 90s themselves are just going to come through now and just poop on everything. So, again, we were talking about this before the show, and these were the 2 characters that I was just like, what? Huh? Because, looking them up, they were Image characters.
Yeah.
From the old Image, like, crazy pants time of Image, way before their creator-owned, well, I guess they were creator-owned back there, too.
But the characters would play with each other a lot more.
This one's a lot more of today's Image is a lot more of a boutique setting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This seemed more like a knockoff. We're going to create our own heroes that are just like other heroes elsewhere that everybody knows, but they're going to have different names and a lot more pouches and muscles.
A lot pointier, you know.
Yeah, pointy. And, so that was where these guys came from, a group called Wetworks that apparently was bought by Wildstorm back a couple of years back, like a decade or 2 ago, and that's how they're under the DC umbrella now. So I guess this is Wildstorm. I lumped them in with the Wildstorm because I didn't know where else to put them, but again, it was a weird mashup of characters as far as Batman, Azrael, Tobias Whale, and Wetworks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's certainly something, and I know I read one of those 90s retrospectives on one of the websites recently, and apparently Wetworks is one of the few Image comics that actually came out on time.
Oh, really?
And had like a big long run to it.
Well, this one was done by Larry Hama and Philip Tan. And
okay.
Isn't Larry Hama like big on the G.I. Joe stuff now?
Yes, I think he was one of the original like G.I. Joe writers. Did a lot of Punisher and stuff too. So
okay,
I think.
So
if
does he have any
correctly,
link to these characters whatsoever? Do you Batman at all? Or?
It's possible. I mean, he did a lot of work back in the 90s. So.
Yeah, I know he's one of the big names as far as a lot of people. Even the other creators are just like, hey, Larry Hama, we like that guy. Yeah. He's a good guy. He does good work. So, and the reading of this was fine. It was great. It was just, again, it's so 90s. I'm just like, 90s overload. Just to have that much crammed into my face at once. I just need to go watch I Love the 90s and just shake my head some more. Like, man.
If people remember stuff and the fact that they're remembering.
I remember this.
The fact that they're saying they remember stuff is considering a joke.
Yes. I remember this. Ha ha ha.
Chicken nuggets were introduced. I love chicken nuggets. Oh man, do you remember chicken nuggets? I also remember chicken nuggets. And then a big heavy guy says, oh, did I love chicken nuggets? Look at me. Wah, wah.
Are you a writer for I Love the whatever years?
Maybe.
But that's it. That's all of our books for this week, Brian. We
Hey.
have survived the 90s. Again.
Yeah. Oh, God. I didn't want to go back, but here I am.
What stood out to you other than Matrix Supergirl? What do you think of the actual core book? The actual Convergence title?
Well, you see, here's the thing. You know how much I love the Earth 2 characters.
I know how much you love
And
the
how
Earth 2
unnecessary I feel them to be.
But
they're fine point of view characters, especially if you've followed along with them.
yeah, Grayson is a
was
good everyman if he didn't have all the stuff that came before him.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I'm already tainted on that character because of World's End. And now they're fixing it as they go. It's kind of like a tune-up on the road while you're driving down the freeway at 65, and you're just under there with a wrench, like, I'll just fix this as we go.
Yeah. But because of my connection to the Death and Return of Superman thing, I enjoyed Superboy just for what they were doing, even though it was just sort of like hey, this is what this character was like back then.
Yeah.
And I did honestly really enjoy the Aquaman book.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
It's a weird tone. It's a
really weird tone. Really nice artwork. It's certainly nothing 90s about the artwork.
No, because it's all scrawny from not having ocean water and lanky looking.
Yeah.
It's very weird. It's not the Aquaman I was thinking.
He's got like a swimmer's body instead of the jacked.
I guess.
There's only one hero body type we know how to draw.
He needs
the 90s.
outrageous Aquaman.
Yeah, I know.
We need him
the big
to show
barrel
up.
chested,
singing songs all the time.
40s action movie star physique.
Awesome
You know,
sea chanties every now and again. That's what I want. But as a reminder to you guys, go out there and buy these books. We're not saying buy them all. We're not saying, buy them for the sake of buying them. But some of this stuff, if this is your era, if this is the stuff you grew up on and you have that little nostalgia tick, if you remember Chicken Nuggets.
yeah.
That's what this is for you. You can go back and relive Chicken Nuggets once more and have that little 1 or 2 issues of just kind of like reveling in it once more before you jump back into the modern day. As I said with the Green Lantern Parallax, a lot of the books have the old school style, but they've learned a lot since then and they're applying modern day storytelling methods to still tell the story without some of the really heavy-handed exposition that was pretty much par for the course in any one of those books that I've gone back to read. It's a lot of words to recap stuff. And we're a show that just spent an hour and a half recapping things. So I understand pot kettle, but I'm just saying it was pretty expo-licious, I guess, back then. Exposition-licious. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say.
We weren't ready for that jelly.
No, we were not.
It was too expo-licious.
I don't think it's ready. Ghetto spaghetti. I don't think it's ready.
Rob Schneider, get out of here.
That's what?
Rob Schneider, get out of here with your spaghetti robot.
I was going to say, that's what I used to sing when I lived alone. I was making my crappy hot dog spaghetti all the time. Domestication does have its benefits because my life had some down moments. I don't think it's ready. Ghetto spaghetti.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, as a reminder, you guys, make sure you go out there and buy them, support them, because if you don't buy them, they don't make them. Well, they're not going to make them after next month anyway for these particular books, but if it scratches an itch, get out there and give it a shot, because some of them are pretty fun, and especially if you have that link back to the past.
Yeah. If you like that Becky Cloonan Aquaman cover, just go to Comixology and buy her 99-cent issue of The Mire. It's a really good story.
Was that a backdoor plug for you?
It was just...
It seemed like a backdoor plug that you just threw in there, like, nonchalantly. Don't you save that for the end of the show?
I do usually, but I've got other stuff to plug this week.
Oh, so now you're doubling down on your plugs. I see how it is.
When I saw her issue, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that story I really liked. I'm going to have to remember to mention it, and I forgot to during the Aquaman part.
Touche. So next week we continue on in the Convergence. Lots more Convergence for everyone, except this time, where are we going here? We are dealing with the Crisis on Infinite Earths timeline.
Good thing I just read that.
Yep, that's the Earth we are dealing with here, and Geoforce right on the cover.
Oh, God,
coming to get you, Brian.
Oh, man.
He's coming to save the day for you. Let's run through the titles we're going to be dealing with here. Of course, we have the main title, Convergence number 3. Each week we get a new issue of Convergence Adventures of Superman number 1, with good old jazzercise Supergirl wearing the headband, ready to surely live a long and fruitful life here in Crisis on Infinite Earth. Convergence Batman and the Outsiders, and that's where Geoforce is right on the cover like, Brian, you're going to read me next week. Convergence Green Lantern Corps. I'm kind of actually curious what a 80s version of the Green Lantern Corps would have been like.
Huh.
To see who we're going to be dealing with there. Obviously, that was
Hal Jordan, how's it going? You're not going to murder us anytime soon, are you? Of course not.
This would have been while Sinestro was still a good guy. Is that 80s era?
No.
Crisis?
He was always a villain. That was like always something that just happened in the past.
A Green Lantern for a long time, too.
But I think that was always something that was in the past.
Okay.
I think he was always the evil guy.
I don't know.
This might be Hal Jordan has questionable dating choices era.
Okay.
Like,
we'll see how that works out.
Arigia, you look like you're 13, but you're honestly in your 30s, so it's okay if I date you.
I'm just going to carry around a copy of your ID everywhere so no one can say anything.
Yep.
We also get Convergence Hawkman, number 1. Pre-crisis Hawkman. Which one is that?
Beats
is that
the ever-loving
Egyptian
hell out of
one?
me.
Is that reincarnated?
Is that Hawkworld one? I don't know.
I think Hawkworld was later. Is this reincarnated souls or is this alien hawk people?
I don't know.
Or is
well, alien people would be Hawkworld, so I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to say hawk people.
There's so many choices.
Hawk people.
Bird people.
Convergence Justice League of America. Looks like
oh no, watch out, Green Arrow.
Well, no, who's the guy? The Elastic guy.
Oh, Elastic Man.
Is that who it is?
Elongated Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think he's actually Elastic Man.
I should know better than that.
Yeah,
I've been reading. I'm literally in the middle of reading 52.
I know, and he has such a nice time during that. That's why he would stick out.
Mm-hmm.
Just nothing but rainbows, sunshine, and weird Jackie O hatted mannequins that come to life and ruin everything.
It's got such a good ending.
Superman cults. Yay. Convergence, New Teen Titans, number 1. We're dealing with the old Wolfman Perez style Teen Titans era there. I don't know if we can get Beth on for next week, but we have Convergence, Superboy, and the Legion of Superheroes, number 1. Ready to jump into action here. The Len Wein Convergence Swamp Thing. Len Wein. Am I pronouncing that right? Or is it Wine?
Don't know.
Ween. Push the little daisies and make them come up. I like Ween. I really like Ween, actually. Not just that crappy stuff that they release, but they have a lot of really good music that they've put out there. Complete sidetrack there. Convergence the Flash, because Speed Force wasn't enough. He gets 2 books. Wow. I'm assuming this is
going to be Barry Allen if it's Crisis on Infinite Earths there.
And then Convergence Wonder Woman. What was going on with Wonder Woman around then? She wasn't Super
George Perez Wonder Woman, maybe?
Was it? Okay.
Maybe? I don't know. Maybe that was after Crisis. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm assuming.
I know she didn't have I know Wonder Woman didn't have a very good time in the 70s and 80s until Perez took over. So
okay, well maybe she's just gonna sit there and be like, "Yep, life sucks for me right now."
I'm dressed like a go-go dancer for some reason. I just roll with it, people.
Hopefully, my new career as a spy and or diplomat is going to work out better. I guess we'll see how that plays out. But those are all of our titles for next week. So if you guys want to reach out and contact us, as I said, we're going to get to all Convergence questions in week 4. So feel free to do so. Brian, what can they do to find us in this maze of the internet?
Just type in our name.
Well, yeah.
Into the internet.
Yeah. Just
use internet.
Yeah. Whatever.
Use as few words as possible. Use internet.
Yeah. Whatever your search engine of choice is, just type DCR podcast into it. It'll find us. I promise you. It's not going to take that much work, and we trust you guys to use computers responsibly. If you do want to email us, though, you can do so at feedback@dcrpodcast.com. So, Brian, that's it for this week. I guess we're going to wrap it up here, right?
Yeah.
Nothing else to toss out there.
Oh, wait, there's something else I want to say.
Of course there is.
Yeah. Well, as I said last week, you can find me now on Tumblr at thebriang.tumblr.com.
Oh, you're pimping yourself now.
Yes, I am pimping myself.
You got the actual good-hearted pimping out there early, so you could get the greedy pimping out now.
Yeah, I just finally bit the bullet and said, screw it, and I put an old children's book that I wrote for my son when he was like 2 years old, wrote and drew, and you can just go to Tumblr and you can read my entire story, The Dinosaur Who Ate Comets.
I still say Yellow Dinosaur was completely out of character.
Well, you know.
Slap in the face, Brian. Slap in the face.
Well, when I get to the Yellow Dinosaur gets his own book, then we'll be able to focus more on his character.
Is Lady Quark and Lord Volt going to be in Yellow Dinosaur's book?
Actually, if there was a spinoff, it'd be the Velociraptor who knew too much. But
what did he know?
Too much.
I need to know right now. You can't just tease that and not give something. You have to give us something, Brian. But yeah, give it a shot. Check it out. It's cute. If you have little kids, they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's got cute pictures and stuff. I'm in the process of writing my own children's book now.
Okay.
Because mine's gonna be better.
Okay.
But I can't do art, so I'm using MS Paint.
Okay.
And it's gonna be awesome.
Hey, MS Paint can get you a lot of cash on the internet.
It's the crayons and a piece of paper approach of art for me, and that's as close as I can get. So watch for mine too. My children's book.
Oh, now we're competing, huh?
Yes, that's going to be infinitely better and totally for children.
Mm-hmm.
I assure you, 100% for children.
Gotcha.
So that's it, guys. Enjoy your books, enjoy your weeks, enjoy the 90s, and enjoy your lives. And we are going to talk to you next week.